I looked at blockchain and Bitcoin and all these cryptocurrencies there, I discovered that this is really a fundamental technology. It's here to stay, and it will disrupt a lot of industries which we can't even imagine of. And this technology development can't be taken away from us anymore. So it's here in the market, and now it's about when adoption or when this disruption will happen. But it's not the question about if, it's only when.
Okay, what is going on, CYPRX advanced YouTubers? Welcome back to the CYPRX YouTube page. As always, if you're interested in learning about cryptocurrencies, commodities, indices, foreign exchange, please go ahead and consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. In today's video breakdown, we are going to cover a technical analysis breakdown of a trade entry that I placed on LCX. We had an announcement that it was listed on Kraken exchange. So we had a nice little surge in price. However, most of the cryptocurrency asset class has slowly recovered from the depreciation in value since yesterday's Asia session. So realistically speaking, I don't think that this little tiny price pump on LCX was due to the fact that it was listed on Kraken. I think that it is going to experience over the next couple of weeks a little bit more of a significant price appreciation because of its listing. However, we were able to scale in based off of that fundamental news, based off of technical analysis and utilizing the CYPRX strategy. So make sure that you guys stick around for the full and entire breakdown, going from the higher time frame all the way down. Then I'm going to just share you guys two tweets that Monty Metzger himself have put out to the general public. I'm a firm believer in LCX. I'm heavily invested in LCX, not telling you to buy or sell the coin. However, I personally have this cryptocurrency in my portfolio. So taking your attention over to the higher time frame, breaking down this beautiful risk to reward trade that we have entered in on Coinbase. We have already taken a couple of partials. You guys already know how I roll. I like to partial out of my position so that way I can reallocate funds back into the market if the opportunity presents itself. We still have a little bit of this trade floating on the table. However, we have taken some profit, okay? Just in case the market does depreciate in value, we can repump some capital back into the market, and that is how we consistently grow our cryptocurrency portfolio here at CYPRX. Now, what I want to take your attention to is the hourly time frame, just starting from a higher time frame top-down analysis. We're going to go to the hourly first, then we'll jump down to the 5-minute. You guys know I like to give my areas of interest by going back in time. A lot of people will tell you all that, hindsight testing is rubbish. However, that is where the most price action information is. Especially if you're trading New York session, you can get a lot of information based off of past New York session price action, okay? So here we have May 12th New York session. They bought at around 5 cents. You guys can see that here. I'll go ahead and I'll hit the replay button for you guys so that way you can see the session indicators, right? We see here New York session bought at around 5 cents. And that is when I started tweeting out to you all that I had put in buy positions on LCX and that LCX could potentially run all the way up to 9 cents and then hit a nice retracement. Now, I was expecting in this temporary bear market for price of LCX to hit anywhere between 4 and 3.5 cents. We have yet to get that. However, I did tweet out to you guys, we have some trendline liquidity, equal highs, and we will most likely attack 9 cents to grab equal highs and then have a nasty dump into trendline liquidity, possibly slamming into 4 cents to maybe 3.5 cents. Very interesting setup. You all have my targets. Now let's watch. This was posted on May 17th. So I take your attention over here to the charts. Now we'll go ahead and we'll hit the exit button on the replay tool. I want to show you guys where I tweeted this out to you all. Right? So we have here May 17th, just to show you guys that we're not filling anybody's head with smoke and mirrors or anything like that. I'd mentioned to you guys about this trendline liquidity taking place, us potentially smacking into 9 cents, which we did to literally the T. We actually went a little bit above that to 10.5 cents, almost to 11 cents. Okay, but we came back for this trendline liquidity. I mentioned this trendline liquidity to you guys, and I told you all that big bank institutions, the whales, okay, if they're going to push price higher, if they leave behind some sort of liquidity in the form of a retail trap, which in this case was trendline liquidity, most likely 9 times out of 10 they're going to come back, clear out all that liquidity to build momentum and volume in their order to push price higher, which you guys can clearly see that has happened now. If we hold this 5 cent psychological level, most likely we are going to see a significant price appreciation on LCX. I'm still being pessimistic, and I have buy limit set at 4.5 cents, which is right beneath these lows, as well as 3.5 cents just in case the market does depreciate in value a little bit more. However, I'm still dollar cost averaging into positions and taking positions on my Coinbase Pro on LCX. All right, so now we're going to go down into a detailistic perspective now that you guys have my bullish target surrounding my higher time frame area of interest right here, extending that area on May 12th where New York institutional buyers bought All right, just confirming that for you guys, highlighting from this area candlestick bodies down to the wick and extending that all the way over, we can see how this New York session respected that ideology, okay? You guys know that I like to utilize the piggyback methodology. You guys can utilize that information or dispose of it however it is that you please. You guys can see time and time again on this YouTube channel how it consistently works in this market, right? Understanding logic in this market helped me surround the trade basis for this trade entry. So I just want to show you guys how I utilize the manipulation window and the logic behind the ideology that the banking institutions are not going to sell from a low. What are they most likely going to do? They're going to buy from lows, push price action up into premium areas where they sold from previous days. So the logic behind this trade today was that the banking institutions are going to take buy positions where if they are going to take sells, they are going to take sell positions from previous days' premium ranges. And you guys can see here's a New York session high where the banking institutions sold off, passed price action into Asia, and the banking institutions during Asia sold off, broke previous market structure, pushed price action back up into a premium, and then took a second sell position, solidifying the ideology that the banking institutions take two main positions during their trading environment or during their trading session, right? Okay, so I had these areas of interest as target areas, right, surrounding liquidity in the manipulation region during this Asia session or maybe even during this New York session above highs. We know that banking institutions like to target highs when they're on a bull run, and they like to target lows when they're in a bearish market, right? We know that because that is where liquidity exists in the market, above highs and beneath lows, okay? So utilizing all that information to formulate a logical target area surrounding this trade. Again, that's something that you guys want to do. Make sure that you write that down. You do not want to take trades and place trades in this market if you do not have logical target areas. Why would the banking institutions be targeting your area of interest? Why should the market go in your favor, right? We know that the market goes in individuals' favors based off of liquidity. That has nothing to do with what it is that I'm seeing in the market. It's more so based off of logic, okay? So now we are on the 5-minute chart just to show you guys what we did outside of the manipulation window. So you guys can see that during this London session, we tapped into the area of interest on the hourly time frame, which was from May 12th New York session buy zone. And we see the market grab liquidity from a low and make new structure highs. This is that institutional pattern that I try to teach you guys on the YouTube channel, where we can see an institutional grab a liquidity from a low and a reversal that breaks previous market structure lower highs. So now we have an institutional pattern where we see a low set in place, that liquidity was grabbed, and a higher low that leads to a market break in structure was formulated right here in this area. So this is the same exact pattern, you guys. I'm going to draw it again for you all, that we're going to utilize as a catalyst to take this trade up here. It is the same institutional pattern that once it is created in the market, we can identify and determine that the market makers are now favoring the bulls or bullish order flow. Okay, this is the pattern right here. I just want you all to pay attention. Okay, this is a market maker pattern that I show you all time and time again that the market makers have to make in order to push price action higher. They must grab liquidity from a previous low. They must then break previous market structure and show us a willingness to create bullish order flow, which is a higher high, higher low, higher high formation. Okay, pay close attention to this because this strategy is key in teaching you guys the directional bias, either temporarily or long term in the market, to give yourself a better edge and a higher probability that a trade is going to go in your favor. So breaking out of the manipulation window, let me expand this area of price action for you all so you can clearly see it. But where can you guys see the pattern without me identifying it to you all? Where can you see the pattern? Pause the video and try and identify it. Okay, right here in this general vicinity around 11 to 11:30 a.m., this is where they announced that the listing on Kraken was taking place. Okay, right when we break out of the manipulation window at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can see that the market makers make a run on highs via the liquidity from above the New York session manipulation window. We pull back to attack a low right here. And then what do? We create a higher low indicated by this little like hump line right here that leads to a market break in structure. So here's the market maker pattern right here that we were able to react to on CYPRX. Okay, we see the market have and print a low. Then we see the market violate that low. Then we see the market print a higher low that leads to a market break in fractal structure. If you guys pay attention, it is the same exact pattern. I'll draw it on for you here. It's the same exact pattern that took place right here in this vicinity. We see a low, we see the market violate a low, then we see the market print bullish momentum, then we see the market create a higher low that leads to a market break in structure. Look at this. It is different. However, it is the same exact institutional pattern. This is the market makers letting us know that they are more interested in buying price action rather than selling it. So we see the market makers grab liquidity. we see the market makers grab liquidity. They then print a higher low. They then print a higher low. That leads to a market break in structure. That leads to a market break in structure. I know that this gets repetitive, but I've been attempting to teach you all that this is how we react to the markets here at CYPRX. And this is what has made us efficient in this market and having a steadily rising equity curve. Okay, trading in tandem with what the banking institutions are doing. So not only did we utilize the fundamental catalyst surrounding the listing on Kraken, which was right here in this general vicinity, as a momentum move to say, okay, look, maybe we see some bullish price action. But what we did is we waited patiently after the market showed us a willingness to grab lows and make new highs right here in this area. You see us grab a low, right? This little tiny wick and price action grab this sell stop area or this retail supportive region, okay? Now we created a higher low after the grab of liquidity that led to a market break in structure. Okay, so this high right here took out a previous market structure fractal high. Simply all we did was we took our Fibonacci from the low to the high, extended that over, and you guys can see how the banking institutions push price action back into 70 to 79% discount, which minimized our risk and exposed our reward. Why? Because we had the logic behind the ideology that we were operating at a previous May 12th low on the higher time frame on the hourly here in this general vicinity, indicated by this blue box, right? What are the banking institutions going to do if they are most likely going to sell? Is they're going to push price action back up to an area of premium where they sold from previous sessions. Okay, so here we see that New York session institutional order flow of a downtrend or bearish order flow. And so we know that if market makers are going to sell LCX again, they are not going to sell from a low, which on the higher time frame, I already showed you guys we were operating at. They're going to push price action up and then take sell positions. However, because of this listing on Kraken, most likely we are going to exceed the previous high on the hourly time frame, which was around 11 cents. That is again my bullish optimism on LCX. However, I'm still expecting lower price action, especially if Bitcoin drops beneath $20,000. So let's be mindful of that. This is how you could have utilized the CYPRX strategy to dollar cost average in on LCX today. Absolutely beautiful price action, going over the same exact consistent pattern that I teach you guys to identify in the market on the YouTube channel. If you guys want an advanced perspective on how to utilize the strategy properly with over 60 hours of course material and one-on-one mentoring program, you guys can click the link in the description down below or visit cyprx.teachable.com. Reach out to me via the customer support email. You guys can always schedule a Zoom call if you have any questions or want to meet me face to face. Now let's go over to Twitter. I want to show you all these tweets from MONUMENTAL. I absolutely love this gentleman. I think that he has a massive future potential in this cryptocurrency space, and especially surrounding the fact that he is the CEO of LCX. He always has an optimistic perspective in this market. Even now during the current bear market, he is extremely optimistic. Okay, so here's that LCX listing. You guys can go ahead and follow the LCX Twitter if you want, but this tweet from MONUMENTAL really stood out to me. You overestimate the impact of LCX in the short term and underestimate the effect in the long run. We are just getting started. So I want to take you back over here to this video snippet of something that he says surrounding the longevity of LCX and how they have a 5 to 10 year plan, and how the majority of cryptocurrency assets out there do not have that. They expect short-term gains and short-term volatility. LCX is regulated and has a long-term perspective and longevity in this market. So here you guys go. Avert your attention to this, and then I'll leave you be for the rest of the day.
Organized. Just a matter of time.
So how far along are we in this when it comes to the financial markets and blockchain and cryptocurrency?
It still is the early days, because everybody who's tested it realized it's complex. You know, installing MetaMask, these wallets, you have private keys to enable your wallets, then you have different service providers to jump on. It's still kind of a complex system. And this reminds me of the early days of the internet, when you needed to explain what is a browser, how to type in the address. You know, these very basic things everybody is now used to, but now it's with Web3 and the Internet of Value is very similar. So there are things where you need to explain what is a public address, how to use it, why is it more transparent than any financial bank account or something like that, what are the implications around the different blockchains and pros and cons and so far. So it feels like still the early days, and that's why we also at LCX really think long term. We have a 5 and 10 year plan of the company as well, while we want to get some kind of immediate actions and exciting projects out of the door right now as well. So it's having the kind of a long-term view and short-term actions.
Okay, so I hope that you all enjoyed this video breakdown, the technical analysis on LCX. Make sure that you are properly dollar cost averaging or leveraging accounts, utilizing a strategy that works, improves consistency in this market time and time again. If anybody wants that mentorship, the link is in the description down below. Blessings to you all. As always, be cognizant, be aware, and I will see you all in the next video breakdown.